Welcome. This hypnotic recording is a guided process for the purpose of achieving relief from tinnitus or tinnitus, the ringing sensation you may have in one or both of your ears. For the best results and outcomes, please find yourself a comfortable space on a supportive chair where you can sit undisturbed and are able to safely close your eyes and relax for the next 20 or so minutes. To allow yourself to give your full attention to the instructions and suggestions contained within this audio recording is best experienced through headphones. So if you need to pause this recording while you make any of those adjustments, please do so now. So as you sit comfortably, allow yourself a moment to settle in. Feel free to adjust your posture or your position in any way which feels right to enable you to become even more comfortable. Maybe paying attention to relaxing any tightness or tension in the muscles around your neck or shoulders. Releasing too any tension or tightness around your jaw. And as you begin to relax that tightness, please rest your hands on your lap, with your palms facing upward and with the backs of your hands resting comfortably against your legs. Knowing that all that's required of you for the next few moments and minutes is to continue to listen to the sound of my voice as you continue to allow yourself to become more comfortable, free to make any little adjustments or movements along the way which your unconscious mind may suggest, which are to allow you to become even more comfortable. So sitting comfortably, with your resting hands on your lap, listening to my voice, noticing as you do that, how that with each passing moment you can settle more completely, becoming more comfortable. And as you become more comfortable, you may notice how it's easier to listen closely to the words I'm using. And as you listen closely to the words and the suggestions, you may find it interesting to begin to notice how your inner experience begins automatically shifting towards a different experience. In a moment, if you have not already done so, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. But before that moment, take this moment to look at your hands. Look at your fingers, noticing their position, their angle, their placement. Noticing too the skin tone and all the variety of texture and colours which makes those hands and fingers unique to you. And as you do so, make any adjustments which you feel will enable your hands and your fingers to become even more comfortable resting there. And as you do so, create for yourself a mental image, a snapshot, a memory of those hands resting there comfortably. Now, take in a slow, deep breath. And as you exhale, allow your eyes to close now fully. And as you do so, allow yourself to relax even more completely than before. Because with your eyes closed now, it's easier and easier to relax even more and more completely than it was before. Trusting your unconscious to guide you and to deliver for you the most satisfying experience. Simply listening closely to my voice, following any instructions I may give in the best way you can, in whichever way makes sense to you. And as you follow those instructions in the best way you can, and in whichever way makes sense to you, you can continue to notice how your experience of this moment will continue to automatically shift into a different moment, a different sense of that experience. And as that takes place, bring to the front of your mind that mental image of those relaxing hands. Imagine those hands and those fingers resting there, relaxing there, being comfortable there. Do your best to recall that image, get a sense of that snapshot, and as you do that, place your attention and your focus and your awareness into your hands, noticing how easily that can be done. Noticing how even with your eyes closed, you can experience those feelings and sensations in new ways. Bringing your awareness to those hands resting, comfortable on your lap, resting easily, without effort. And as your awareness of those things grows, notice all that you can notice about those hands. The sensations, the signals coming of them resting there, relaxing there, being comfortable there. And you may notice how some fingers may be touching, while others, or maybe all of them, seem to float in space. And others may seem to have drifted beyond perception. And notice how you can experience them without the need to be aware of their exact position, or to be exactly aware of which hand seems to be most comfortable, or even of which hand seems to be relaxing more completely than the other. And as you become more and more aware of this effortless ease there, this relaxation and floating there in your hands and fingers floating free, you may begin to wonder what it would be like to experience that free, floating, effortless relaxation for yourself, entirely drifting. So in a moment, I'm going to begin to count slowly backwards from the number 5 all the way down to the number 1. And with each and every number I say, you will relax and drift even deeper down, even more completely into that free, floating, feeling place of effortless relaxation, more and more completely, more and more easily, so that by the time I reach the number 1, you'll be completely relaxed, completely comfortable, completely at ease with your own effortlessness, drifting deeper and deeper into your own comfortable inner experience. 5. Feeling that sensation of comfort and ease spreading from your fingers and along your arms, flowing, easing, floating through to your shoulders. 4. Beginning to notice even more than before about how with each breath you take, you can deepen that relaxation more and more completely, more and more effortlessly than before. 3. Drifting down. Noticing how those shifting inner sensations seem to call you into them, towards them, deeper and deeper, more and more completely, so it's easier and easier to let go and to experience that free floating free. 2. Aware of things along the way. Learning as you go all you need to learn about your own abilities to relax even more completely. Your own ability to alter your experience. Your own ability to shift that awareness of many things which may seem to come automatically, freely into the mind. As you relax completely, all the way down now, without any need for you to notice anything else, except to notice how easy it is to noticing how easy it is to relax even deeper now. And as your physical self continues to enjoy that experience, continues to relax deeply and easily, allow yourself a moment for your mind, your unconscious mind, to go out into a fantasy, to only imagine now that for a moment you are free to explore, and in your mind's eye to go out into a fantasy in the best way you can, in whichever way is the right way for you. And in that fantasy you can imagine experiencing yourself as though you were walking through the grand doorway into a grand museum. And in that grand museum you may notice that there may be statues and artworks, old vases and curiosities, glass displays and open spaces. And the floor is firm under your feet as you walk further into the halls of that museum, noticing how the sound of your footsteps breaks this stillness that exists in the air, except there is another sound, a sound coming from somewhere within, an intrusive sound which doesn't seem to belong, a sound which disturbs your peace and the solitude of that museum, a sound which seems to prevent you from enjoying the full experience. And so you explore to discover the source of this sound, and you find yourself entering into a part of the museum which contains displays from modern history. And on one of those displays there is an old radio receiver box of the kind or type they may have had back in the 1920s or 30s. And that intrusive sound has been coming from this radio. It's still functioning, it's still working, it's still broadcasting out sound, but it's no longer able to tune into anything specific. It's just emitting that noise which had disrupted your enjoyment. And as you look closer on that radio receiver, there are 2 dials on the face of it, 2 round knobs that can be turned. And so you reach out with your right hand, because it is the right thing to do. And imagine turning that dial, bringing your thumb and your fingers of your right hand together, noticing the sensation of touch on your fingertips as you turn that first dial, which you notice changes the nature, the tone, the frequency of that intrusive noise. And notice how you can adjust that right dial right now, turning it between your right fingers and thumbs, learning as you do so how you can adjust that tone, adjust that sound so that it becomes less intrusive, less annoying, less invasive. Turning that dial so that that noise turns into something else entirely, something which no longer concerns you in quite the same way as before, turning and tuning it into something which no longer bothers or affects you in quite the same way. And as you make those adjustments which are right, you can also adjust the dial on the left, bringing together your thumb and fingers of your left hand to turn that dial, as all that's left is to adjust the volume. And while that dial may not work as effectively maybe as it once did, notice how you can turn that volume down on that radio, even just a little, to make that sound more comfortable, less intrusive, less invasive. And as you make those adjustments, you realise that maybe once, long ago, this radio transmitted important information or news, or it conveyed something of interest, something someone might once have needed to pay attention to, might once have needed to listen to closely, but that is no longer true, because the sounds this radio makes no longer carries anything of any importance or any interest to anyone anymore. And so no one has to or needs to pay attention to it anymore. And with those adjustments made as best you can walk away from that old radio receiver on that old display, noticing how, as you walk away, the sound it makes becomes even easier to ignore, even less intrusive, even quieter. Now, as you continue to walk away from it, that sound fades more and more into the distance as you continue walking further and further into the distance, leaving all that unnecessary disruption and noise far behind. And as you move away from that sound, allowing that noise to fade further behind, further into the distance, you can leave that grand museum through that grand door, knowing that your visit has been worthwhile, knowing that should you ever find yourself noticing that sound that used to bother you, you'll know now that it's just an antique radio, that it's nothing to concern yourself with, and you can easily turn it down and focus on something else instead, because it's okay to ignore it completely, or that if you wish you can listen to it for a while. And that any time you choose you can return to that room in that museum. And you can also adjust the nature and the volume of that noise, remembering the touch of those dials between your thumbs and fingertips. Or you can simply allow that noise to continue to fade away, further and further into the distance, as you continue to move away from that place to a place where it no longer bothers or concerns you ever again. Imagine yourself walking away from that museum now, leaving all that behind you, bringing with you only a vague memory of an experience you might once have had. And I don't know if you'll choose to remember to forget about paying any further attention to that radio, or if you'll simply forget to remember to notice it anymore. But what is important to know is that all this time, which may seem like a long time but has in fact just been a short time, because as you relax and unwind, time changes, and what may seem like it would take a long time can be achieved in almost no time at all. As for you, this is the right time to make those changes happen now, isn't it? Time now for you to take this time to reflect upon all that you've learned and experienced and understood during this time, because you have a conscious and an unconscious mind, and they can learn a great deal from each other and from their experiences. And in a moment, I'm going to count up to 5. And as I count up to 5, you'll begin to drift back up to full, conscious, alert awareness. So use this time to integrate all those new concepts and experiences, and to trust your unconscious to make any and all of the adjustments which are right for you, and to adjust anything left for you to live free. In a moment, I'm going to count up to 5. And as I count up to 5, you'll begin to drift back up to full, conscious, alert awareness. So use this time to integrate and adopt all those new concepts and experiences, and to trust your unconscious to make any and all of the adjustments which are right for you, and also to adjust anything which is left for you in order for you to live free and undisturbed. And that sound is good, right? 1. Can easily begin to become more and more aware of your surroundings. 2. Paying attention to the next breath you take, noticing the air filling your lungs. 3. Returning your thoughts, awareness and attention to the present moment, aware of your hands on your lap, flexing your fingers. 4. Knowing that all of those positive changes will be automatically integrated easily and fully, without the need for you to notice anything except to notice more and more each day. All of those positive changes happening easily. Taking in one more big deep breath. 5. Eyes opening now, wide awake and alert. Feeling fantastic, feeling refreshed and ready to enjoy the rest of your day undisturbed.